in the 7th and 8th innings. In the top of the 7th, the Dodgers up 2-0 and the bases loaded. Adrian Gonzalez, furious with a first pitch call of a strike, bounced into an inning-ending double play. And for Gonzalez, it was game-ending. Clayton Kershaw struck out 11, but in the bottom of the 7th, he gave up a home run to the light-hitting Clint Barnes, making the score 2-1. And with 2 out and nobody on, in came the struggling Yimi Garcia. And on his first pitch to Will Myers, the removal of Kershaw seemed like a good idea, until it wasn't. And on the next pitch, Norris dealt Garcia and the Dodgers a crushing blow. Padres 3, Dodgers 2. But in the top of the 8th, Justin Turner was a hero until he wasn't, which would set the stage for Alex Guerrero, who was the hero with his major league leading 8th pinch hit run batted in. It's a beautiful night for baseball, and live from Petco Park in San Diego, Sportsnet LA presents the Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Diego Padres in Game 2 of this 3-game series. Hi again, everybody. Charlie Steiner, Oral Hershiser, and Nomar Garciaparra. What a crazy game it was last night. And just as the wheels were coming off the jalopy in the 8th inning, the veteran Howie Kendrick showed why he is so important to this team.
Yeah, if you're a Dodger fan, you went through a roller coaster of emotions last night. It seems like the Dodgers were in control of that game. And then all of a sudden you see in that 7th inning, and it seems like the wheels fell off, and you saw the momentum shift back to San Diego. But Howie Kendrick, the veteran leadership, comes through in the clutch. Yeah, he led off the inning, but you wanted to get that momentum back into that Dodger dugout. And it was the double. It was the hustle. It was his style of play that really seemed to change the momentum back into the Dodgers' way. It gave them the confidence to come through, and it gave the entire bench to come through and come up with that clutch hit.
So the box score said he was 1 for 4, but what a big hit it was. Zach Greinke goes for the Dodgers tonight. It's his 7th attempt for his 6th win.
You know what? Zach Greinke needs to be Zach Greinke. He needs to continue to pitch the way he's been pitching. 0-1 with a 2.29 over his last 6 starts. He could easily have 11 wins this year. A very measured and calculated response he will have to that bad luck. He needs to wait for his teammates to play better behind him, but Zach Greinke needs to continue to be the pitcher he's been. In 83 innings this year, he has only given up more than 1 run, 4 innings. Zach Greinke, keep being Zach.
Adrian Gonzalez out of the penalty box tonight, hitting .432 against the Padres this year. We're back with the lineups and first pitch right after this. As the Dodgers and Padres get ready for the second game of this 3-game set. As the Dodgers begin play, the Giants have ended their day in Arizona behind the one-time Dodger farmhand Allen Webster. Diamondbacks beat the Giants tonight 4-2, and so the Dodgers, with a win tonight over the Padres, can increase their lead over second-place San Francisco to 3.5 games, with 4 games in the loss column. Closed captioning brought to you by Wiener Schnitzel der Fun since '61. So Don Mattingly and the Dodgers playing with a little bit of house money tonight. And here's the lineup that Donnie has put together. Beginning with Peterson and Puig and Gonzalez. Howie Kendrick, big performer right in the middle of that 8th inning last night. Justin Turner at third base. Andre Ethier in left. Grandal, the former Padre. Jimmy Rollins at short. Zach Greinke pitching and batting ninth. Greinke making his 13th start of the year, and the Dodgers facing Ian Kennedy.
Well, Ian Kennedy has faced the Dodgers a couple of times this year. He's 0-2 with an 8.71 ERA in his last outing versus the Dodgers. He only gave up 2 earned runs. He's going to come at you with a fastball, curveball, changeup with an occasional cutter. What gets him in trouble is the fastball command. The other thing is, in that first inning, he's given up 12 earned runs so far in the first inning. So the Dodgers are going to look to try to get on the board early.
Kennedy has been struggling in his last 11 starts, 0-7, and an ERA of about 5.5. Left-handed hitters this year have feasted against Kennedy, hitting .308. He's given up 7 home runs to left-handed batters, and we begin with Jock Peterson, who has hit 17 home runs on the season. So Peterson and Puig and Gonzalez, the top third of the Dodger order. The Padres wasting no time with a shift on the right side of the infield. First pitch of the game. Peterson swings and gets a piece of it. It's 0-1. Jock at 246 has 50 hits, 17 home runs, 9 doubles, and a triple. And he has walked 41 times, ranking him third in the National League. He's also second in the league, having been struck out 74 times. Partly cloudy skies, perfect conditions as Peterson takes upstairs 1-1.
You're right, Charlie. Absolutely beautiful night to play baseball. The sun has set, and these guys are in a perfect temperature in a very beautiful ballpark.
And the outfield straight away for Peterson, who takes high, and it's 2-1. Let's see if the Dodgers can get off to a quick start against Ian Kennedy, as Nomar mentioned. He has given up 12 runs in the first inning this year. Only a couple of pitchers in the league have given up more in the first. And there's a strike to Peterson. 2-2.
I don't like to see Jacques take that fastball right down the middle in a 2-1 count. It means he might be thinking a little bit too much. After he took a big swing on the very first pitch of the game, the fastball down the middle, he fouled back. Maybe he's thinking he's not going to see any more of those, but Kennedy snuck one by him.
On 2-2. So Jock Peterson was hit by a pitch last night and also walked twice. Gets aboard the hard way.
Well, they're trying to come in, obviously, on Jock Peterson. You know, after he threw those fastballs down the middle, as you mentioned, Oral, trying to get him off the plate, possibly set up and expand the zone after on the next pitch, and he gets a piece of him.
Well, here comes Yasiel Puig. 22 out of 62 on the season. Of course, he was out for about a month with that hamstring. But in 5 games back from the DL, 10 for 19. That's a .526 clip. 1 for 4 last night. So Ian Kennedy. Only Jeff Samardzija and Kyle Kendrick have given up more first inning runs this year than Kennedy has. This is outside and low, 1 ball, no strikes.
The way Yasiel is swinging the bat right now, and Kennedy looks like he wants to establish his fastball, there could be fireworks in this at bat. Yasiel has been very hot since he came off the DL.
10 for 19. Gonzalez on deck, Kendrick to follow. Into short right. Spangenberg out. Kemp calls him off. Defensively behind Kennedy tonight, Yonder Alonso making his first start at third base as a Padre, his second start at third base in his career. Alexi Amarista, the shortstop, Spangenberg at second, Will Myers at first. Upton, Venable, and Kemp in the outfield, and Derek Norris is behind the plate. It will be interesting to see if the Dodgers try to bunt it all on Yonder Alonso. Gonzalez, of course, got the heave-ho last night, arguing with third base umpire tonight. Third base umpire Doug Eddings, who was calling balls and strikes. And Adrian let his feelings be known after the game as well. Only the second time as a Dodger, fourth time in his career that Gonzalez was ejected from the game. Leads the majors with 21 doubles and fouls it off to the left.
The first three batters so far for the Dodgers have just missed fastballs by Ian Kennedy. So Jock Peterson fouled off that first pitch that he saw Adrian there, and also the one that Yasiel popped up over there to right field.
For Kennedy, his 11th start, 3 and 5 and an ERA of about 6.5.
You know, Nomar, when you watch hitters foul off fastballs, like you said, the first three guys, then you look at the quality of the fastball, and it doesn't have a lot of movement. So you kind of anticipate that they're going to be able to square it up. It's a lot different, a foul ball off a guy who has tremendous movement, like a real good sinker or 95 mile an hour that seems like it has some hop.
Grounded to first, and Peterson is caught in no man's land, but not for long. So Gonzalez bounces into a double play. Of course, that's what he did last night in what turned out to be his final at-bat of the game. No runs, no hits for the Dodgers. Zach Greinke getting ready for his 13th start of the year and in search of his 6th win. He'll be facing Myers, Venable, and Upton in the bottom of the first. Professional hockey player in his day, so Harry Black Jr. has put this lineup together for the Padres tonight, looking to get back to 500 with Myers and Venable and Upton in the top third. Matt Kemp continues to struggle. He's in the cleanup spot in right. Yonder Alonso back off the DL, giving it a shot at third base. Derek Norris is the catcher. Corey Spangenberg at second base. Alexi Amarista, Ian Kennedy facing 31-year-old right-hander Zach Greinke.
Zach Greinke, the 5-1, does not tell the story. He could easily have double figures in wins. He's in the league leaders in ERA, third. After about 6 innings tonight, he'll be in the top 5 in innings pitched. And hopefully he'll get a win, and that'll move him into the top 10 also.
Making his 7th attempt at his 6th win. No balls and a strike to Will Myers. Myers having missed some time. Left wrist issue, 278, 5 home runs and 19 runs batted in. Venable next. And Myers fouls it up the right side, and it's 0-2. So the Dodgers, with the Giants having lost in San Francisco, can go 4 up in the loss column on the Giants with a win tonight. Greinke on 0-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Working Will Meyer away. He goes double fastball, and then they go breaking ball out there. Yasmani made a nice target for an 0-2 pitch, wanting it down there in the dirt. Definitely not a mistake. High quality 0-2 pitch.
Now the 1-2. Fastball, fly ball, center field. Peterson's going back, and he's got room. So Jock Peterson in center field is surrounded by Andre Ethier in left and Yasiel Puig in right. Turner, Rollins, Kendrick, and Gonzalez, the usual suspects these days in the infield, and Yasmani Grandal is behind the plate for Zack Greinke. Here's Will Venable. Venable at .257, 5 home runs and 17 runs batted in. He watched last night with Kershaw starting as Melvin Upton Jr. started in center field. Venable out of Princeton takes a strike, and it's 0-1. He's been a solid and steady performer for the Padres. And he bangs a base hit into right center. He's got good speed, and he is on his way to second base, and he tempts the throw of Puig, and he beats him. Running all the way out of the box, Venable had designs on second, and that's his 5th double.
Well, that was really the key, Charlie. Just right out of the box. You mentioned going to Princeton. He was a 2-sport athlete over there. Great athlete. Driving the ball over there to right center, recognizing that the outfielders have to come in for that ball, so he did not hesitate. He was thinking second base all the way and made it in there easily.
Venable's 5th double of the year came up with San Diego in 2008. So now here's Justin Upton with a dozen home runs and 38 runs batted in, .290 on the year. Went around, and it's 0-1.
You know, guys, with a traditional infield positioning, gappers used to only happen with balls that were hit in the air. Now with all the drastic shifting in the infield, you can actually have gappers on ground balls like that last play.
So if you get through the fortress of the shift, opens up the possibility for that extra base.
The traditional positioning of the second baseman and the shortstop also guarded the gaps on ground balls of the traditional outfield position. But now that you're shifting the infielders in really drastic ways, when the outfield plays traditional or even the normal way, it creates gaps sometimes in the outfield on ground balls.
A ball and a strike to Upton. Just underway in the bottom of the first. Kemp is on deck, and there's a call strike. Zack Greinke in 10 career starts against the Padres. He's 5-0 and a 1.53 ERA. He's made 3 starts against San Diego this year, 1-0 and a .87 earned run average. But it's been more than a month in his attempt to win his 6th game of the year. 5-1. 2-2.
Lots has been talked about with Zack Greinke. Would he be frustrated going into this outing? With frustration in a pitcher of not getting decisions for the quality level you've been pitching? And I think Zack is the guy that can really handle that. It's not that he's emotionless, but he's so much of a strategist and thinker.
Breaking ball, whack, foul.
And I think he can deal with the fact that put the pass behind him and not try and push farther. If you push harder as a pitcher with your breaking ball, you hang it. You push harder with a fastball, it straightens out. You push harder with other pitches, you can miss your location. and you just want to be yourself.
But as a pitcher, the only stats you can control essentially are strikeouts, walks, and ERA. After that, it's out of your hands. To the right side, that's Howie Kendrick. Venable goes to third. Upton bounces to second with Matt Kemp coming up.
I think you really judge yourself as a pitcher on execution, not on results.
I was just on that fact, though, Oral. I mean, you're such a competitor. You're always about wins and getting a W for your team. When you on your starts, if you were, say, Zach Greinke, would you find yourself really saying, okay, now I have to be perfect. I have to put up a 0. I have to really do that in order for our team to win when I'm out there? Or
well, the Dodgers are 8-4 in his starts, this being his 13th start here tonight. So the team is winning when he goes out there. He's just not getting the decisions. Either the bullpen gives it up and then we come back and get the win, or they don't finish it off for himself and they end up losing, because with only one loss, he hasn't done anything wrong. But I know what you mean. The only place I would evaluate myself or Zach is if you're in a game-winning situation and you fail to execute.
Now Matt Kemp. Kemp at 246 with but 2 home runs and 32 runs batted in. He's also been struck out 61 times. This is a Padres team that strikes out a lot. Alonso on deck. Kemp fouls it off to the right and out of play. Kemp coming into last night was hitting .364 against the Dodgers, but he was punched out 3 times and he walked.
Situation where the catcher has to have as much courage as the pitcher to call breaking balls in the dirt to a guy who likes to hit the fastball.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Catchers can default to hard stuff with a man on third when the pass ball wild pitch could hurt him, as much as a pitcher can default to a pitch and not call the proper pitch and trust his catcher.
16 of the 27 outs recorded by Dodger pitching last night were strikeouts. Kemp foul, tips it, and barely stays alive.
Take a look at Yasmani Grandal behind the plate. He calls the pitch and then look him come out of his haunches. That would tell me right away it's breaking ball. It's late, which is fine. The signal can't be relayed to Matt Kemp from a coach. And it's late because he won't feel or hear that shift.
1-2. Fastball. This is going to be a tough play. Greinke throws, and it gets past Gonzalez. Kemp will go to second as Venable comes in to score. There is nobody at second base, but backing up is Andre Ethier. The Padres take a 1-0 lead. On a 25-foot dribbler, Kemp's 33rd run batted into the year.
We saw that right off the bat that this was going to be trouble because it was kind of there in no man's land going up, almost like a swing. It was a swinging bunt right there. Zach Greinke tried to make a great play. So did Adrian Gonzalez. The reason they were trying to make great plays because there was 2 outs and trying to save that run. And then Yasiel, sometimes you don't know what he's thinking out there, but he's just trying to spin and fire, not recognizing that no one's there at second base. But a great job by Andre Ethier. He's in the proper position, backing up and able to make the play.
And now a ground ball to first off the bat of Alonso. Gonzalez, Greinke, a run, a hit, and an error, and the Padres take a 1-0 lead. Kendrick, Turner, and Ethier will bat for the Dodgers in the second. Andre Ethier saving Yasiel Puig's bacon, backing up an errant throw in the bottom half of the first. Lana Rizzo with more on Andre Ethier and the great year he's had.
Well, Charlie, he continues to do it with the glove, and he's certainly doing it offensively as well. Andre Ethier, not a candidate right now on the All-Star ballot for 2015, but perhaps he should be a write-in candidate, and here's why. He's among National League outfielders as far as a lot of offensive categories. 7th in average, tied for 10th in home runs, for 15th in RBI, 7th in on-base percentage, and 5th in slugging. Ethier leads active players in hits, home runs, RBIs versus the Padres, and he's been very consistent this entire season, guys.
In his 10th with the Dodgers, he'll be batting 3rd here in the 2nd as Howie Kendrick leads it off. Kendrick last night started that 8th inning rally that gave the Dodgers their 4-3 win. And we were talking about it in the open. Nomar. Again, it was not so much the hit, but it was when it came from a steadying presence in this now almost 10-year veteran.
Definitely the timing was what the Dodgers needed. I mean, you know, we were covering that game like we felt it up here. We just felt the whole momentum just kind of go the Padres' way, especially after the mistakes that the Dodgers had, dropping that pop-up. Looked like they were in control. But Howie coming up with a double.
And in his first at-bat, he grounds to Corey Spangenberg.
And even after that, after the game, A.J. Ellis was getting interviewed, and he was talking about how important and how big that double was. That pick up the dugout, pick up the team, and he said, we just kind of feed off the way Howie Kendrick plays the game.
Now Justin Turner. Turner was able to knock in Howie Kendrick in the 8th inning and then promptly got himself picked off. But the Dodgers pressed on. Ethier with a hit. A walk to Ellis, and Guerrero with what turned out to be the game-winning RBI. Turner takes a strike, and it's 0-1. Justin at .316 with 5 home runs and 24 runs batted in. Ethier on deck. There's a strike.
Now, Justin's healthy enough to play, but last night getting picked off really, I think, was the result of him knowing he doesn't have electric legs right now, explosive legs, full speed legs. So he wandered off second base a little farther to try and get to the third quicker and found himself in no man's land.
Well, he picked himself up with a base hit into center field.
Not affecting his swing right now. I mean, he's doing an excellent job staying back on balls and going back up the middle.
Something you might not know about Justin Turner, who of course knocked in that hit last night. Since the beginning of last year, when he arrived with the Dodgers, hitting with runners in scoring position, he's hitting .398. And of all the hitters in Major League Baseball with at least 100 plate appearances, nobody has done it better. .398 with runners in scoring position. Now here's Ethier at .292 with 8 home runs, 26 runs batted in. Sliced foul to the left and out of play. Last night they drew about 39,000. Looks like about the same size crowd tonight. And it seems like, as it was last night, about a 50-50 split between Dodger and Padre fans, which drives the Padre fans crazy.
Over the last 3 years or so, the outfield has always looked like it's going to be clogged. And Andre Ethier has always been labeled kind of the odd man out. And every year he turns out to be one of the integral solutions to the outfield.
If the outfield has been clogged, he's been the plumber.
He turns out to be the problem, the hair in the drain, and then he turns out to be, you make it into a wig. I mean, he's been awesome. And he really has, and he admitted it in an interview that we were doing with him about how he's really learned through this to be a great teammate. And that it's about the name on the front of the jersey instead of the back of the jersey.
Takes high. In point of service, 10 years with the Dodgers, he is a senior citizen.
I'm just thinking, the Dodgers have played 61 games thus far. This is 62nd, and he's played in 57 of them. The guy that they were talking about possibly trading because they weren't going to be able to find playing time for him.
1-2 with Grandal on deck. Turner, not a lot of speed with his wounded knee, leading off first. In the dirt. And now Turner misjudged that short hop, caught perfectly by Norris, who has been sensational all year, throwing out would-be base stealers. 2 out and nobody on.
Well, you're taught as a base runner, as you're taking your secondary, you're watching the trajectory of the ball, and you're taking off right there as you see it going down in the dirt, because you're thinking it's going to be, the catcher is going to catch that on his knees. But Norris doesn't. See, Norris catches that up on his feet. They usually drop down to block that. But because it was so far out in front, he's up on his feet and was able to scoop it perfectly and make a good throw.
Caught it practically with a bare hand.
Yeah, it was just bad luck. Justin Turner played it perfectly. Right. It was just bad luck, and Norris made a fortunate stop.
Officially, it's called a putout, 2-6. Had not caught stealing. Either way, it's the second out of the inning, and a 3-2 pitch to Ethier, who fouls it back. So the Padres with the early 1-0 lead. And the 3-2 from Kennedy to Ethier. Andres making a nuisance of himself.
It really doesn't look like there's a pitch that Andre is worried about. He's protecting when that ball was started in the area where he was looking, strike on the inner half. And then the ball faded away, and he was able to protect, but it does not look like Kennedy is fooling him with anything.
This is the 8th pitch of the at-bat. On a second hop, Amarista throws out Ethier by a half a step. Andre breaks his bat, and that ends the inning. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left. We'll go to the bottom of the second with Norris, Spangenberg, and Amarista coming up. Coors Light, cold hard facts. Since 1969, last year Greinke 12-0 within the West. Ian Kennedy in 2011 was unbeaten. Ramon Martinez in 1990 didn't lose against the West. But in the case of Greinke, so you got Greinke and Kennedy going against one another tonight. Zach Greinke, since coming to the Dodgers against the National League West, is 22-2 within the division. Unbeaten last year. Derek Norris with the big home run last night takes a strike, and it's 0-1. Greinke has just been a model of consistency since coming to the Dodgers. Norris on the third hop. Rollins gets a very speedy Derek Norris. He doesn't just run well for a catcher. He runs well, period.
You know what? He's a dangerous hit. I like Derek Norris. Watching him play, just like the way he goes about the game. He respects it, runs hard down the first base line all the time. Came up with a big clutch home run yesterday, boost the team up for the Padres. So he's a gamer, and it shows every time he goes out there.
Corey Spangenberg coming up. Spangenberg at 255 with a couple of home runs. Amarista on deck. Spangenberg squares the bunt, takes it back. It's a call, strike, and 0-1. They're still trying to figure out what to do with their infield. Dodgers have a pretty good idea, of course, and there's not much of a shift for the lefty. Spangenberg, very fast runner. Well, Will Myers, they think now is going to be their first baseman of the future. He started the season in center field. They've got a hybrid of Spangenberg and Solarte at second base, and a hybrid at shortstop between Barmes and tonight's starter Amarista. And Yonder Alonso. There's the Gold Glove winner, Greinke, with a quick step, 2 out. And Yonder Alonso tonight is making his first start at third base for the Padres and the second start of his career. So the infield is still a work in progress.
Yeah, very much in flux.
That too.
The organization has, been turned over. You highlighted that last night, Charlie, how they have really turned over the whole roster.
Last night's starting 9 for San Diego, none of them were around opening day last year. Amarista takes a strike. It's 0-1. Light hitting shortstop at 205. Padres begin the night a game under 500. Greinke misses outside. Bud Black is 9th year. They are a 500 team in every way. They're 15-16 at home, 16-16 on the road. As Amarista fouls it off. In the division, they're 16-15 against Western Division rivals, while the Dodgers are 25-16. With the Giants losing today, the Dodgers have a chance to go 3.5 up and 4 in the loss column.
Earlier this inning, Charlie, you were talking about Zach Greinke's dominance against the National League West. These Dodgers are trying to do something that no Los Angeles team has ever done: win the division 3 years in a row. I think the dominance of Zach Greinke and Clayton Kershaw against the National League West is the reason they've got a shot at it.
25-16 within the division this year.
Last year, those two pitchers were 24-1 against the National League West. That's a good 1-2 combo.
Dodgers last year within the West 50-26. That was how the West was won. And Amarista with a routine fly to left. Then there's Ethier. Nothing across for the Padres when we come back for the third. Grandal, Rollins, and Greinke to bat. The Giants at 4:15. Don't forget to stay after the game to enjoy the first movie in the 2015 Dodger Stadium movie series, where we'll be showing the critically acclaimed The Lego Movie. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. So here's Yasmani Grandal. Of course, he came over in the trade for Matt Kemp. Dodgers are thrilled with the way the deal turned out. 6 home runs, 21 runs batted in. And has hit especially well away from Dodger Stadium. Grandal takes high, 1 ball, no strikes. Jimmy Rollins on deck, Zach Greinke to follow. Kennedy falls behind 2-0. Ian Kennedy in 50 innings this year. He's given up 58 hits and walked 16. Grandal fouls it back.
Another fastball, Oral, that Dodger hitter just missed. Looked like they were on it once again.
On 2-1.
And I'm curious to see maybe the second time through the Dodger lineup facing Ian Kennedy. We talked about the key to Ian Kennedy is his fastball command. The other thing is establishing his breaking ball. And right now, he hasn't been able to establish that. So maybe that second time through, the Dodgers can eliminate the curveball and just look fastball.
There's a shot to right. It's well hit. It is on its way, and it is gone. A big blast for Yasmani Grandal. His 7th of the year, and the 13th surrendered by Ian Kennedy. With that home run, the Dodgers and Padres are tied at 1. You guys were talking about the Dodgers locking in on Kennedy, and boy, was Grandal ever locked in.
I was just mentioning, looking for the fastball off Ian Kennedy and look for your spot. Well, he wanted it away. He went right down the middle, and Yasmani did not miss it. Fastball before, he fouls off, got his timing, and that time, the timing was perfect.
Dodgers and Padres even at 1, and the struggling Jimmy Rollins steps in. Jimmy is at but 200 with 7 home runs and 18 runs batted in. Greinke on deck. The shift is on for Rollins, and he takes up and in. It's 2 balls and no strikes. The 2-0.
You know, I was looking at this lineup, and we're talking about Alonso playing over there at third base. Guys that can possibly see bunting on Alonso to test him over there. Well, Jimmy Rollins would be one of those guys. But they have the shift on Jimmy Rollins, and the third baseman is playing in the second base hole between second and first base. That's where that's where Alonso is, and Amarista, the shortstop, was playing in where the third baseman is. So I'm not thinking about bunting there with that athleticism over there.
Well, they get Alonso back over there on the first base side of the bag where he's used to on the field, and they use Amarista for the speed early in the count. They had him in closer in case there was that bunt.
Well, again, yonder Alonso making his second start of his career at third base. That's an easy play for Myers. So now the Padre infield go back to their regular spots. And Zach Greinke coming up. So Ian Kennedy, plagued by the long ball all season, surrenders his 13th. For Grandal, his 7th home run of the year, and Greinke's got a 1-1 tie to work with. Greinke 5 for 24 with a bat in his hand with the Silver Slugger Award. Takes outside and low, 1 ball and no strikes.
Zach does it all well. And he fields his position. I know the throw to Adrian that led to the run was not accurate, but getting off the mound and getting to that ball first of all was outstanding.
And a fly ball to left, got under it. And there's Upton. And that is the second inning. Jock Peterson hit by a pitch in his first at-bat. Besides home runs, walks, strikeouts, Jock Peterson leads the Dodgers in having been hit by a pitch 5 times. That's a stat he can live without.
And on that first pitch, he was cheating a little bit. He was guessing he was going to get a fastball like the first time, like his first at bat that he missed. And he swung like it was a fastball, and it was a breaking ball, swung right over it.
Tied at 1 with 2 out in the third. Line drive, base hit into right center field. Peterson with the turn. Matt Kemp has 5 outfield assists this year, so Peterson stays put. Yasiel Puig has a hit in each of the 5 games he's been in since coming off the DL. 10 for 20, 1 for 4 last night. He flied to left in his first at bat.
Well, here we come on that second time around, Belmar, the order. These guys have already seen him. He's going to have to establish something else, I think, like you were leaning towards until Yasmani woke him up on the first look.
Gonzalez on deck. Kennedy has either struck out or walked anybody. His 41st pitch. Not sure what kind of a swing that was.
That looked like he was like almost guessing what he was, you know, he's like looking for a pitch. Okay, is it coming? Oh, there it is. And especially early in the count, it's a little bit different when you're looking for someone trying to protect with maybe 2 strikes on you.
That's about as early in the count as you can get.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, are you looking to take a swing? It's either let it go, right?
That's as early as you can get. Here's the second earliest. Into short center field. Matt Kemp in right center takes charge. Yasmani Grandal with his 7th home run of the year, traveled 379 feet. Ties the score at 1 with Kennedy, Myers, and Venable coming up for the Padres in the bottom of the third. Dodge Challenger. With an EPA estimated 30 highway mpg, this car was made for driving in California. Visit Dodge.com today. Ian Kennedy's never been much of a hitter in his career. Takes outside, 1 ball, no strikes. 1 for 14 this year. That's 071. Last year he hit 115, and his career batting average is 133. All 1 strike. Will Myers and Will Venable to follow. Dodgers on the year 7-3 against San Diego. 4-2 at Dodger Stadium, 3-1 here at Petco. There's a strike. 1-2. In fact, the Dodgers at 36-25, 11 over 500, 3 in front of San Francisco. Last night's battery, Kershaw and Ellis laying back. Breaking balls. See it. Kennedy knew before he heard the call. I think I'll be leaving now.
And then he would look like he was waiting for the call, and then Jim Wolf kind of hesitated and said, okay, well, if you're walking, now I'll call it.
Well, all right, if you insist. First strikeout for Greinke. I was going to say the Dodgers have dominated the Padres. They've also dominated the Rockies in Arizona so far this year. Combined against the Padres, Rockies, and Diamondbacks, the Dodgers are 23-9. Myers into right field. Puig can't get it. Going to drop in for a base hit. So Will Myers beginning to get his ceilings with the Padres. His 41st hit. Learning a new position on the fly, first base. And he's protecting that left wrist, which has been giving him some issues to the point he was on the DL. Venable doubled and scored the only run of the game for San Diego in the first. Justin Upton on deck.
Venable hit a fastball to the right side of second base for that double on a hard ground ball. Zach Greinke starts him off with a fastball in. I think he's going to want to get him with his changeup and try and get a double play.
Boy, getting Venable with a double play with his speed is not easy.
You're right. Dodgers are pinching Justin Turner on the corner, and then, of course, up the middle playing double play depth. This is one of those batters, Nomar, that if you and I were on the same team and I was on the mound, I might ask you to back up a little bit and just make sure we get one. But you can't back up too much because you get a chopper from the hitter. Now he beats it out at first, too.
I mean, you still want it's like a step or two is what all you're asking, because you still don't want to break up the rhythm as an infielder, just in case you do get that hard one where you still get that maybe one hot line drive to still turn the double play.
And Myers over at first base has very good speed. Upton on deck and Kemp to follow. Greinke's 38th pitch. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
There's that changeup that I thought they were working towards. Fastball base hitting first at bat. Fastball into stardom here, like, oh, I'm going to keep living with the fastball, but no, pull the string on him, get him out in front, get the swing and miss. I wouldn't be surprised if he backs it up again with that. A little lower, a little more away.
2-2. Call strike 3.
Or lock him up with a fastball on the black away.
Like throwing darts in a saloon.
Outstanding pitching by Zach Greinke and Yasmani Grandal being on the same exact page. It's hard with Zach right there because that ball starts on a track where if that's the changeup, it's definitely going to be away as much as it breaks and goes down. But it's not the changeup. He throws the dead straight four-seamer and just dots the corner.
Now here's Justin Upton, who bounced to second base in his first at-bat. Grandal, by the way, in case you're wondering if Myers might be inclined to steal, is thrown out 8 of 28. If you can throw out about 30% of would-be base stealers, you're doing your job.
Yeah, as much as we've complimented Yasmani on his ability to block the ball better this year and from health and better mechanics from Steve Yeager, the throwing, I think, is even more impressive.
0-1 to Upton.
A lot of people with Yasmani have said even his arm has gotten stronger. Well, when you have a better base under you, all of a sudden your arm strength is going to be better because you're using your hips and your shoulders and your knees and your feet to leverage that ball to second base just as much as you're using your arm if you're doing it properly.
Breaking ball for a strike. You get a sense now that Greinke has really locked himself in.
Well, on that one, I think Greinke thought he got away with one because he saw that going out of his hand. It was kind of a hanging curveball, and he knows the power of Upton. Watch the reaction of Greinke, like, whew, he didn't swing on at that pitch.
Zach, thank God he didn't swing at that pitch.
Upton was fooled and jelly-legged. Yeah. Now a fastball just missing outside.
You're like, whoa, and then you're like, oh. Thank God he didn't swing.
42 pitches, 32 strikes. 2 strikeouts, no walks, tied at 1 in the bottom of the third. Upton is done. Greinke strikes out the side. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. Adrian Gonzalez, Howie Kendrick, and Justin Turner will bat for the Dodgers when we come back for the fourth. In the fourth. Last night, Howie Kendrick will be batting second here in the fourth inning. Led off the big eighth inning, and Dodgers would come from behind and win. But he's pretty good at finishing off big innings, too, Alana.
Well, if Adrian Gonzalez can find his way to second base, Howie Kendrick is exactly the man you want at the plate. He was 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs in the last series against Arizona. I tell you what, guys, he is absolutely clutch, specifically with runners in scoring position. This season, 365, 2 home runs, 3 doubles. This month alone, 385 with a long ball and 8 RBIs. Comes up big in key moments.
And you and I were talking, Nomar, earlier today about Kendrick, but we'll get to him in a moment as Gonzalez leads off. And Adrian takes outside, 1 ball, no strike. In the case of Howie Kendrick, above and beyond what he brings on the field, a steadying influence, it's that same attitude, the same vibe that he brings into the dugout and the clubhouse.
Yeah, there's a work ethic. There's a way he goes about playing. He's not one of those guys that's raw, very vocal. He just goes out there and the way he works, everybody takes notice. And there was we heard this at spring training when the season was starting. His fellow teammates were talking about just the way he goes about his business. Him and also Jimmy Rollins is another one, new one who came in, veteran.
And oh, by the way, the guy at the plate.
Yeah.
Gonzalez 2-2.
And we've gotten to know Howie ourselves and just his personality. I mean, it's infectious, and you can see why he gets the respect that he does.
When we played the Angels and Howie was behind the cage, guys didn't trickle over from the Angels to say hi. There were groups of people around him. That's when you know if a guy's really well liked on his former team.
Meanwhile, Gonzalez, the former Padre, into left center field. Upton is there. A whirling dervish of a play, and that's the first out of the fourth.
I don't know if Upton might have lost that in the lights right at the very end, as we have another look at the Carl's cam here. Watch Justin Upton's reaction right there. It looked like he did lose it at the last second in the lights, but was still able to stay with it and make the catch.
A Carl's cam catch at that. Now the aforementioned Mr. Kendrick. If it seems a little smoky here at Petco Park, it's because it is. Between innings, they shoot off fireworks out in center field. And heavenly shades of night are falling. It's twilight time, and then you got smoke getting in your eyes. And we'll spare the rest.
Do we know why they did?
Just
they didn't do it yesterday.
No.
I'm going, what's the purpose of that? So we can have smoke
and noise. Smoke on the water. Don't do any more record references.
I think they were promoting the fireworks that are after the game.
Okay. All right. Can't they just put it up on that big screen that they have here? Say we'll have fireworks after the game rather than create the smoke in the middle of the game?
I'm with you, Omar.
Okay.
I'm going to keep my day job.
3-0 to Kendrick with one out in the fourth. Into center field, and that's Venable. Two out, and Justin Turner is coming up. Turner tonight has singled to center. Each team with a run and 3 hits, 2 out in the top half of the fourth. Mentioned earlier, and it really bears repeating. Since Turner came to the Dodgers last year, he's hitting .398 with runners in scoring position. Nobody has a higher batting average hitting in the clutch with at least 100 at-bats in the major leagues than this guy.
Well, because of Jock Peterson, because of Justin Turner, and because of Yasmani Grandal, this is a really hard lineup to go through. You know, without the at-bats from those guys, you would be able to start to pick and choose as a starting pitcher where to get your outs, who to pitch around. You wouldn't be pitching to guys like Howie Kendrick. You wouldn't have to pitch to Adrian Gonzalez quite as much. You wouldn't have to pitch to Andre Ethier quite as much. But because of Turner, because of the development of Jock Peterson and his power and what he does at the top of the lineup, because Yasmani Grandal now catching 4 out of 5 days, it really lengthens this lineup.
There's young Jock. And Justin takes inside. 2-1. Turner hit .340 last year, career year. The previous year, the Mets just let him go. The Dodgers said, come on home.
And last year, as we watched it unfold with Justin Turner, a lot of people thought an anomaly. You know,
when is the bubble going to burst?
Right. And now, when he comes out of spring training, picks up where he left off, and he's still doing it, and we're getting close to midway through the season, he's starting to look like bona fide big leaguer. This can last for the rest of his career.
His emergence this year basically allowed the Dodgers to trade away a very popular Juan Uribe. So Mattingly's got 3 third basemen at the moment and a 4th on the way. And he works out a walk, so Turner's been on base both plate appearances tonight. Hector Oliveira, the highly regarded Cuban third baseman, now at AAA. Just a matter of weeks before he's expected to arrive. All that will do. There's Alex Guerrero, who's had his hand at third base and left field, and nobody has driven in more runs as a pinch hitter in the major leagues than that guy, including last night's game.
And he's a rookie. He and Jock sit at the top of a lot of the rookie categories.
Ethier, who is not a rookie by any stretch, his 10th big league season with the Dodgers, bounced to short in his first at bat. Ethier has enjoyed his time playing against the Padres in his big league career. Lifetime against him, .293. And he's played roughly 1 full season against San Diego. 156 games, 22 home runs, 85 RBIs, a .293 average, and a .364 on base percentage. Among all the outfielders in the National League, Ethier at .298 has the 6th highest batting average. His 8 home runs ranks him 10th among the outfielders. His on-base percentage of .377 ranks him 6th.
Well, Lana earlier highlighted where he stands with all those outfielders, and get out and vote. This guy needs to be a write-in candidate, but the work that he has put in, the fans should put the work in for him.
Rolls it to second base. That's Spangenberg, and that's the end of the inning. No runs, no hits, a walk and a man left after 3.5 with Kemp, Alonso, and Norris coming up in the bottom of the 4th. We are tied at 1. Giants. First 40,000 fans in attendance receive a Father's Day barbecue set presented by Farmer John. Bring your gloves, join in a post-game catch out on the field. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. So Matt Kemp with a little dribbler up the third base line. Venable at third in the first inning with 2 out. A hit and an error. And that gave the Padres their only run of the game, and the Dodgers have a shift on the left side of the infield for Kemp, who takes outside and low 1 ball and no strikes. The Padres this year, including tonight, have scored 275 runs. 122 of them have come with 2 out. Alonso on deck and Norris to follow. Outside and low, 2 balls and no strikes.
As we take a look at the infield defense against Clayton Kershaw, they didn't shift yesterday, and now you see how defenses get specific according to not only the hitter, but against which pitcher.
Well, of course, it's Kershaw, lefty. Frankie, righty. And a slowly hit ball to Kendrick from the shortstop spot, and throws out Kemp by a half a step.
Great play by Howie Kendrick, charging the ball. Watch how he keeps both hands together real quick for a quick release as he's charging that ball, making a strong throw over to first base. As we have a look on the Morongo slow-mo cam.
4 at 6-3 in your scorebook. That's the way I've designed it from now on with all these shifts.
Yonder Alonso, the batter. There's a strike and it's nothing in 1. So you got a 4, a parentheses.
You just got the at sign to put the A with the circle around it. 4A circle 6-3. It's getting really complicated to score.
Here's 1 out. That makes it easy.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what we'll get into next once we have to scorebook the range factors or something else.
I saw a stat today talking about the shift and all of that. Here's Alonso. In order, what teams have done the shift the most and the least. Now it occurs to me they're keeping stats on stats.
Oh, yeah.
And here, delightfully, a conventional defense. Outfield is straight away. Turner's a little bit off the line. And here's Alonso. For Greinke, that's his 4th strikeout, 2 out and nobody on.
Liars figure and figures lie, and changeups like that are hard to hit.
Those are just killer.
That's just, you can mark that any way you want. That's a forward K with a little N for nasty.
Norris bounced to short in his first at-bat. A run, 3 hits for either side. And there's a strike, nothing in 1. 51 pitches, 38 for strikes. And it seems like Greinke's been ahead of everybody tonight. Norris with a big home run last night. And right now you get a sense that Greinke with his off-speed stuff is just toying with these guys.
Yeah, he's mixing his pitches very well tonight, and that's because he's comfortable throwing any of them at any time. And so there's no way the Padres can really understand what he's about to throw.
Like that fastball to the right side. And Gonzalez is there. And another 1-2-3 inning for Zach Greinke. We'll go to the 5th. The bottom third of the Dodger order will be coming up. Grandal, Rollins, and Adell. inning provided the Dodgers with their only run of the game to this point. For Grandal, it was his 7th home run of the year, now has 22 runs batted in. So Grandal, Jimmy Rollins, and Zach Greinke coming up.
Nomar, we really haven't seen Ian Kennedy establish a secondary pitch. I mean, he's attempted a few breaking balls. Had thrown a couple changeups.
There's a breaking ball.
There's a curve ball at 77.
But despite that, he's still been able to keep the Dodgers at bay right now. They haven't been able to, other than Yasmani's home run, but just string a few hits together.
Into left, and Upton is there for the first out of the 5th.
It's one of those at bats where you really feel as a hitter you got yourself out. No breaking ball on the mound to speak of right now that you have to worry about, and then you get the fastball, but it's up out of your area. We saw Yasmani hit a home run on a ball like that earlier this year, but it takes a real
It's tough to get on top of that ball.
Outstanding swing to hit that one.
1 out, and Jimmy Rollins is now a notch below the Mendoza line at 199. Takes a strike, and it's 0-1. Bounced to first in his first at-bat. Jimmy hitless in 4 at-bats last night. He's had a rough patch of road so far this season offensively. Takes a strike, and it is 0-2.
Over the last couple days is the first time I've really seen Jimmy in the batter's box and swinging the bat where he actually looked like his average. I thought he's been hitting with hard luck. He looked confident earlier in the year, even though the average was starting to plummet. But the last couple nights, he's looked a little lost and like he's feeling for the ball.
Like that last swing right there, like that at bat, that strikeout. For me, I agree with you on all those fronts, and he may be just a little tired. It's one of those that he may, we're in the stretch right here where the Dodgers are playing 34 games in 34 days. They just had a day off the other day, but at the same time, he just might also need not only a physical, but also just a mental break to just regroup.
And what you'll do with your veteran players like Jimmy or Adrian or guys that you want to give a blow, you'll time it around an off day to get them too. And there's no room like that right now.
Not till July the 2nd. Greinke swings and misses, and it's 0-2. Now you get a sense that Kennedy is beginning to develop a little confidence out
It's really the fastball changeup combination Kennedy is going with. The curveball, he's throwing it on occasion, but not too often. But it's
well, and he's bringing it along in the part of the order where you want to do it. He has not had the execution on those 2 pitches throughout the game, but he's bringing it along against the bottom of the order, 7, 8, 9. Yasmani got a first pitch curveball. Jimmy Rollins saw some curveballs. Zach Greinke's seeing some changeups, so he's trying to get it ready for the next time around the order.
Greinke on 0-2. So Kennedy has struck out 1. He has walked 1 and given up the home run to Grandal. His 71st pitch upcoming. Yonder Alonso fields it flawlessly at third base in his first start in San Diego and his second big league start at the hot corner. Nothing across for the Dodgers. Spangenberg Toyota dealers. Now, during Toyota's summer savings, you can save big on any 2015 Camry. And by Jack in the Box. Taste the new black pepper cheeseburger today, only at Jack in the Box. Zach Greinke, so far so good. 1 run, 3 hits, 4 strikeouts, no walks. He has had no 3-ball counts tonight. He has faced 15 batters to this point, and he has thrown strike 1 to 11 to the 15. Kennedy's been just as good on the Padres side as Spangenberg leads off and takes high and outside. 1 ball and no strikes. The speedy second baseman Spangenberg. Now there's a ball out on the field that was retrieved by Jock Peterson, and we can continue play. Spangenberg bounced back to the Gold Glove winning Zach Greinke in his first at-bat. And he lines one into left field for a base hit. Will he try to go to second? Takes the big turn, but Ethier does a nice job in getting it back into the infield.
Tough to face these guys that just want to put it in play and have wheels. When they hit it on a line, of course they get a hit, but if they chop it or hit a ground ball, they're still hard to get out. That kind of style from Spangenberg will keep him around for a while.
Spangenberg has stolen 5 out of 7. He got the 8-hitter in Amarista, hitting barely 200, and Kennedy, the pitcher, can't hit a lick after that. So if there's going to be a play on from Bud Black, perhaps a hit and run.
This is where you really get to see all the tools of Zach Greinke on the mound. His ability to hold the running game, his ability to work a hitter, even though there's a fast runner on board. Right there, a pickoff, and then almost a quick pitch. Not allowing Spangenberg to get a full lead. He will vary his times to the plate. He will vary his looks. He'll vary the pitches. He'll be able to pitch with the defense, having to hold the runner.
Baseball smarts, he's got it.
Complete pitcher. And the game is moving fast for a lot of pitchers in this situation, not for Zach Greinke.
Slowly hit Kendrick. The ball hit Spangenberg. And so he is out.
Bad base running, Omar. He should know how to get through this.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think he thought he could beat it. I think he can get, and at the same time get in the way. Just, okay, I'll beat it past Kennedy, get in his way, and maybe possibly cause Kendrick to bobble that ball and miss it. But his timing was off, gets hit. And if you're Amarista, you're kind of saying thank you, because it goes down as a base hit for him.
Now Kennedy squares the bunt, takes it back. One out and one on. Kennedy 1 for 15 this year, 8 strikeouts and 2 sacrifices. Now Maurice's got good speed, and there he goes. Throw down to second base is not going to be in time.
I'll tell you, it was interesting is right away Justin Turner was pointing like, wait, he got him out. And I think
Greinke said the same thing.
Yeah, and you see Jimmy Rollins as well. Looked like he beat the throw. I wonder if he comes off the bag.
You might have been seeing the front leg pop up in the air, and so then the tag goes on. He's up. He's down. Well, he looks like he's.
Yeah, I think he gets that foot down
safe
before the tag.
Yep.
He's up, he's down, he's safe.
Yep.
So for Amarista, the throw on the third base side of the bag made it certainly very difficult for the tag out.
And they won't challenge that because he was safe.
which is as good a reason as any not to challenge.
Well, I mean, you see all the players. You saw, 3 of the players on the field were like, "Look at that! Go have a look."
Well, they did.
And they did, and they let him know. No, he got there. Okay.
So for Amarista, that's his 3rd stolen base. Ian Kennedy, 2 balls and a strike. Tied at 1 with 1 out in the bottom of the 5th. Myers a tough out on deck. Greinke doesn't want to play with Kennedy, wants to strike him out here and then have to deal with Myers. Doesn't even want to have Kennedy put the ball in play with a chance to advance Amarista to 3rd. "61 pitches, 45 strikes, 2-2 to Kennedy." Well, he's got the strikeout. That's the 5th, and now there's 2 out. It's almost as if Greinke said, "I'm going to take care of this myself."
Well, the base hit to left, and then the real routine ground ball that you run into an out. And I know Amarista gets credit for a hit, but it wasn't a hit. It was them just staying out of a double play, and then he takes care of the pitcher. So here he is. He set himself up to get out of an inning where the leadoff batter got on.
Now with 2 out, Myers 1 for 2. Nothing in 1. Myers just 24. And the Padres are the 3rd organization for whom he has worked. From the Royals to the Rays and now San Diego. No balls and a strike to Myers. No balls and 2 strikes.
See Amarista out there kind of bouncing around. I don't know, trying to distract maybe Greinke a little bit, but let's see if he bounces around now with the batter with 2 strikes, because you don't want to distract the hitter either.
I'm not sure a bolt of lightning would distract Zach Greinke. One and 2. Venable on deck.
Now first base is really not open with Will Myers up there. Venable's had some good looks and a base hit off of Greinke. I know first base is open, but right on right situation ahead in the count. Zach wants to get him at the plate.
Here's the 1-2. And he got him at the plate. He just took a step back and said, "Don't worry, fellas, I'll take care of it myself." No runs, 2 hits, 1 left. Couple of strikeouts for Greinke. We go to the 6th. Tied at 1.
Yasiel Puig and Adrian Gonzalez set to hit in this inning. And if you take a look at third base for the Padres, you'll see Yonder Alonso there. As Charlie Steiner mentioned earlier, Will Myers is the first baseman of the future for the Padres. That means that Alonso's taking a lot more ground balls at third base and getting playing time there. It's his first start at third base since 2012. If you take a look at his glove, you can see it's Manny Machado's glove, of course, the third baseman for the Baltimore Orioles. That is Alonso's brother-in-law, guys.
Well, if he can feel like Manny Machado, well, they're trying to find his bat a space for it. And good luck in trying to play the position the way Machado does. Jock Peterson leads off for the Dodgers in the sixth. First pitch, and he pops it up. And Justin Upton calling off Amarista with the shift on. One pitch, one out in the sixth.
Omar, we're getting to those innings where you talk about this lineup has to figure out a way to produce a run.
They do. I'll tell you, Ian Kennedy, as much as not throwing too many breaking balls, he has been able to keep them off with his fastball. His fastball's been up in the zone, in and out. It's been thrown at the top of the strike zone. He's got a pop-up such as that one, doing that. And the Dodgers really need to help Zach Greinke out. Once again, Zach Greinke has been doing his job, and the Dodgers need to find a way.
Puig found a way. A one-out single to center for Yasiel Puig.
Well, here we go. We're coming into the heart of the lineup with the two most professional hitters in the lineup. And Adrian Gonzalez will have the hole on the right side open. Yasiel Puig sets the table for Adrian and Howie coming up. Nice piece of hitting. Yasiel stays hot since he's come off the DL.
1 for 3 tonight. And 10 for 22. And he's had a hit in each of the 6 games since coming off the disabled list. Gonzalez 0 for 2. Into short left, and there's Upton. But now it's up to Howie Kendrick.
A little grimace right there by Adrian Gonzalez. Says, I got the pitch I wanted. It maybe was a little lower than I wanted, but I just didn't put the swing on it.
A month ago, Gonzalez was hitting a 372. Now he's down around 315. Kendrick has bounced to second and flied to center, tied at 1 with 2 out in the top of the 6th.
There are times as hitters when you're facing a pitcher and you just see the ball well out of his hand. And when you're going to the plate, you're going, okay, I see him. I know I'm going to get a fastball. And you have a tendency to get a little bit too big where you're thinking, okay, I can take a big swing because I really want to drive it. Not only to the outfield, but possibly maybe hit a home run.
Into right field, but slicing foul by a few feet.
As compared to a pitcher where you maybe not see so good, where you might go, okay, I'm not seeing him too well. We know he's a quality, he's got good stuff, good strikeout. I might just shorten up early in my count, not take a big swing, but just kind of make sure I'm able to square it up, maybe go the other way. And it's a whole different just approach, and you have a tendency to almost get yourself out with that big swing where you miss hit, you pop up, you roll over. And you see the frustration right there from Adrian Gonzalez on that one, because he goes up there thinking, okay, he's a guy I could possibly hit one out on rather than just, hey, just take my hit. Same thing with Jock Peterson.
0-2 to Kendrick as Puig leads from first. Watching Kennedy against the Dodgers over the years, I'm not sure he's had a better performance. Lifetime 5-9, an ERA of 4.5 in 19 starts against the Dodgers. Tonight we're tied at 1. Kendrick at the moment is at 291 with 6 home runs and 28 runs batted in. Ian Kennedy tonight is a strikeout and a walk. And the Dodgers' only run, the Yasmani Grandal home run in the 3rd. Kennedy's 78th pitch of the night. Breaking ball, no. 2-2. Justin Turner on deck. Dodgers have had no more than one runner on base in any inning. Of course, the Grandal home run. And Kennedy strikes out Kendrick, and that ends the inning on 8 meager pitches. After 5.5, Dodgers and Padres are tied at 1. Any one of the great LA beaches this summer will be one of the first 40,000 fans in attendance this coming Wednesday night when the Dodgers host the Texas Rangers and receive your very own Dodgers beach bag presented by Avito Water. For more information, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. Tied at 1, bottom of the 6th. Venable scored the only run of the game, that back in the first inning. Doubled. Advanced to third on an infield out and came home on an infield hit and an error by Zach Greinke of all people. Venable then would strike out, and he rolls it foul.
Zach Greinke has been very efficient tonight. Take a look at the inning-by-inning pitch totals. The first inning a little rocky with the 18 where he gives up the run, but after that 11, 14, 10, 13, and 2 in this one so far.
In the right field for a base hit. Puig cuts it off and limits the damage.
Same challenge as the last inning for Zach. Leadoff hitter getting on. Last inning it was a base hit to left that started the inning for the Padres. This inning he's going to have to fight around one to right.
Well, one Padre hitter has Greinke figured out, and that's Will Venable. A single and a double. And Upton coming up. And again, don't forget, Venable can steal a base. 4 out of 5 this year.
That's the third type of move we've seen from Zach Greinke. We've seen him go quick to not let him get a lead. We've seen him come set and go to first. And on that one, a snap throw to first without even getting the signal from Yasmani. Just kind of glancing in where the runner might fall asleep a little bit, thinking you're looking at your catcher, looking for fingers. No, I'm coming to get you.
He's taking his time to get on the mound because as Adrian kind of walked the ball over, like maybe give it some time, give the dugout a chance to look at that to see possibly if we did get him out over there at first base.
Venable stole 29 bases in 2010, 24 in 2012. Greinke takes a strike, delivers a strike to Upton.
Right before Zach comes in, and gets ready to go into a stretch, you'll see him turn his head and get two eyes on the runner at first to really get a read how far he is off first base. From then on, you only have one eye as a right-hander on the runner, but you know if he moves any further, it's too far for you. That's when you can pick off. There's the two-eye look. I know where he is. Any movement from now on to the right, he's too far.
Rollins with a diving stamp. What a beautiful play by Jimmy Rollins. That changes the dynamic of the inning in a big way.
Well, you love this as a pitcher. You throw the pitch to get the ground ball, possible double play. You turn around and then you go, oh, I need a dive, and you get it. Great job by Jimmy Rollins. The bat might be silent, but the glove is loud right there.
That's just a great play. And the other great thing, Howie Kendrick getting there early to second base. That way he has his feet underneath him in case the throw. See how he had to flip it on the ground, and he can make the adjustment just to get that one out.
Four-time Gold Glove winner, Jimmy Rollins. And now Matt Kemp. An infield hit and an RBI is also grounded out. There's a strike, and it's 0-1. So Kemp at 248 with his infield hit. Now 33 runs batted in. Not the pronounced shift that they had for him earlier, as Kendrick is still on the first base side of second. Grounded to short. This is going to be an awkward double play, but they get it done anyway. In a 7-pitch inning for Zack Greinke, helped on a spectacular play by Jimmy Rollins. When we go to the top half of the 7th inning, Rollins, Kendrick, and Adrian Gonzalez at the receiving end. The Dodgers will have Justin Turner, Andre Ethier, Yasmani Grandal coming up. Southern California Kia dealers. Visit mysocalkia.com to learn more. Tied at 1 through 6. Turner, Ethier, and Grandal coming up. Turner with a hit and a walk tonight. Five home runs, 24 runs batted in. Yasmani Grandal over at third base wearing Manny Machado's glove. His brother-in-law, we come to find out tonight from the line. Drilled but foul, the left field line. So Jimmy Rollins struggling offensively, but tonight couple of terrific plays in the infield. And one of the notable differences between the Dodgers of this year through 62 games is Matt Kemp. And last year, the Dodgers ranked 14th in defense in the league. Coming into the game tonight, the Dodgers ranked second in the National League. Those may not be juicy fantasy numbers, but you play to win the game. Three and one. Eighth year Grandal. If anybody gets aboard, then Rollins. Three and two. Kennedy's pitch count to this point still very manageable. 84, 52 of them for strikes.
He's only gone, the most he's gone this year is 7 innings. And in that game, he only threw 94 pitches. The most he's thrown this year is 110.
Well, with an ERA of 6.5 coming in, you're not going to be around very long.
But he's been very efficient today.
Right. Yeah. This may be the best performance we've seen Kennedy against the Dodgers. Three and two. Turner finds one foul again. He's had 2 good rips against Kennedy here in this at bat.
Kennedy's lucky he pulled that one foul, because that was a lazy slider on the inner half. Justin just a little too quick on it, but that's one he definitely could have had a double or a home run on it.
Turner born in Bellflower. Kennedy pulls the string, and down goes Turner. 3rd strikeout of the game for Ian Kennedy.
A little quick on the slider, and then real quick on the changeup for Justin.
One out and nobody on. Kennedy graduated from La Quinta High School in Huntington Beach in 2003. And he was on to USC, drafted by the Yankees, then to the Diamondbacks, and now with the Padres. And a call strike, 0-1.
Starting to show command of that changeup and the breaking balls.
First round pick of the Yankees in 2006.
In some ways, he's pitching this game like we used to pitch in my generation, which was to go with your fastball as long as you could until the opposing team forced you to throw other pitches. Nowadays, we see guys go right into their arsenal right from the very first batter of the game.
Spangenberg. 2 gone.
Kennedy has done a real good job of going with the fastball as long as it's successful and saving or establishing the fastball, and now that he's this time, 2nd, 3rd time around the order, able to change his pattern.
Up comes Yasmani Grandal. He's the only guy who has blemished Kennedy's line tonight. Grandal with a home run in the 3rd inning, his 7th of the year. Tied at 1. The Padres 6 hits. The Dodgers have 4, and a call strike, 0-1 to Yasmani Grandal. Low and outside.
When Yasmani cocks the bat there, right here, and the shoulders look really scrunched, and the bat looks like he's squeezing the handle. Is he doing that to feel compact? That's not tightness.
Yeah, it's a lot of times he might be reminding himself to maybe keep that front shoulder in so it doesn't, fly out, fly open, so the barrel ends up dropping.
When he brings those shoulders up by his ears, it just looks like it's tense.
Yeah, but it's not. I mean, that's, it's both that, a reminder to keep it in, and also to be that nice, compact, short to the ball.
And that's what it looks like to me, is an early reminder to stay small, stay compact, don't get too big.
Breaking ball for a strike, 2-2. Jimmy Rollins on deck. Giants lost again today, so the Dodgers, if they can win this thing, will move 3.5 up. On 3-2 with 2 out. Fouled off to the left and out of play. This is the only run of the game for the Dodgers. Back to the 3rd inning we go.
We saw some fastballs early in the game from Kennedy that other hitters were fouling off, but that mistake right there, Yasmani, made him pay.
379 feet later. Call strike 3, and that's going to end the inning. Randall doesn't like the call from home plate umpire Jim Wolf, but he can deal with him later. He'll be catching for Greinke in the bottom of the 7th with Alonso, Norris, and Spangenberg coming up. Mattingly as they bring you an inside look at the best moments of the week on and off the field. Don't miss Dodgers Clubhouse this Monday night at 9 right here on Sportsnet LA. Yonder Alonso is 0 for 2. We are tied at 1. Alonso, Norris, and Spangenberg to bat. And Greinke cruising right along. No balls and 1 strike. Alonso's bounced out and has been struck out. 6 strikeouts, no walks for Greinke tonight. And it seems like he's been ahead of the count all night. Quickly, 0-2. Alonso is the 23rd batter that Greinke has faced tonight. 16 of them have faced strike 1. Alonso 2 home runs and 18 runs batted in. He's done.
You're talking about Zach Greinke and his pitch count. It has been outstanding. He's at 76 now, and that glowing ERA that he started at 1.92 today, down to 1.88. And the frustration could mount some more. He has been going, this is his 7th start, looking for his 6th win. And over that time, his ERA has been 2.29. The Dodgers need to support this young man.
Who's getting older in a hurry.
He sure is.
Norris 0 for 2. Fly ball. Short center. Sprinting in, and Peterson can't reach it. So Norris bloops a single to center with 1 out.
He had Jock Peterson playing really deep in center field, respecting the fact that Norris does have some power. And this ball off the end of the bat, you saw Jock sprint in, right? Like he got the read, but he just couldn't get to that.
One out, 1 on, and Corey Spangenberg coming up.
I'm glad Jock stayed on his feet.
It looked like he was thinking about diving and just said, all right.
That could turn it into a double in a hurry with Norris's speed, and with a 1-run game here with 1 out, keep him on first base.
Spangenberg 1 out of 2. Turner in on the grass at 3rd. Alexi Amarista is on deck. Outside and low. Spangenberg bounced back to Greinke and single to left. Slap hitter, good speed. Born in Pennsylvania, lives in Florida.
Zach has pitched with a few guys on first base. Only 3 guys have reached second, and only 1 has gotten by second base tonight, and that was Venable, who ended up scoring in the first.
On an infield hit and an error. Dodgers only run a Grandal home run. Two balls and no strikes to Spangenberg. Spangenberg, a first-round pick of the Padres in 2011. Greinke falls behind 3-0, and that's the first 3-ball count of the night for Greinke. Amarista, another slap hitter on deck.
Spangenberg's base hit in his last at bat was on a fastball, and he slapped it to left field. Zach's been trying to tease him out there with not the fastball but the changeup, and just missing off the corner.
A 4-pitch walk. And the first runner in scoring position, actually the second since the first inning.
Oh, that 4-pitch walk, could that just be a byproduct of trying to be too fine right there? Or
Definitely thinking of the fact that strikes could hurt me no matter what, because Spangenberg's speed and his ability to slap the ball. And so you are really trying to make the perfect pitch on every pitch, and sometimes it makes you a little hesitant at your release point to really let the ball go and be aggressive. And it looked like Zach was a little bit tentative with all those pitches.
And Greinke was the quarterback out there looking at Turner. Be aware of the bunt. Amarista 1 for 2. As the Padres try to mount a rally here in the 7th. That's 5 balls in a row.
He needs to make an adjustment right here. He's missing in the same location every time, trying to be perfect, or maybe has lost his release point a little bit. There are points in the game when all of a sudden you have a different energy level in your body because you're hitting a wall. Zach's got to catch his breath.
To second base, Kendrick to Rollins. That's all they're going to get. 2 out. Norris goes to third. Kennedy is due up, but he is not going to bat. Yangervis Solarte will to pinch hit.
I'll tell you, that was a fine play by Howie Kendrick. I mean, that ball was hit hard. He had to go to his left and still be able to go back and get the runner out at second base. Usually you're going, okay, do I just go take the out at first? But recognizing that he still had a play at second base, not the easiest of play, but still makes a perfect throw. And Jimmy Rollins knew he had no chance because of Amarista's speed. He was just looking for that 1 out.
But now here's Honeycutt. He's got the entire infield in, reminding them all what Solarte is inclined to do.
We've got the hitter conversation about Solarte, who was 1 for 3 last night with a double. And then you've got the defensive conversation that if they decide to start the speedy runners that are on, watch the double steal. What are we going to do to defense that?
So here's the biggest moment of the game to this point. First and third, 2 out. Tied at 1. Bottom of the 7th. Solarte, the switch hitter, better from the left side than he is from the right by about 100 points. He fouls it off to the left. It's 0-1.
I like the aggression that Zach Greinke has shown in the last couple pitches. Just going with the fastball and saying, here, I'll go strength against strength. He was trying to trick a few hitters before that with the changeup away, and now back to establishing the fastball.
First and third, 2 out. 1-1 tie. Bottom of the 7th. Solarte takes high and away.
I know if they talked about that defense. If Amarista steals, I'd have a belief that they wouldn't try to throw him out at second. I think they'd have enough confidence in Zach that he can get the batter.
But Solarte's a .340 hitter with runners in scoring position this year.
See, if I'm San Diego, I wouldn't steal him because I want to leave the hole open there on the right side. Keep Gonzalez on the bag. Let the Dodger defense start a little bit more porous.
Two out, bottom of the 7th. Low and outside, 2-1. So Solarte has been a clutch hitter for the Padres this year. Norris at third, Amarista's at first, and it's fly ball to left field. Drifting on back, Ethier. He's there. He's got it. Greinke is out of the inning, and we will head to the 8th. Greinke is due to bat second in the 8th inning. Rollins, presumably a pinch hitter, and then Jock Peterson tied at 1 through 7th. to Nissan's ride of your life for exciting performance and surprising offers. Shop ChooseNissan.com. And by DraftKings. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com. Use promo code BLUECREW for free entry. A crowd of 43,525, the 8th sellout of the season, being entertained in a terrific pitcher's duel. Ian Kennedy is out. Brandon Moore is in. For Moore, his 29th, making his 30th appearance now. ERA of 1 3/4, and you see what the opponents are hitting, next to nothing. 23 strikeouts in 31 innings. Rollins leads it off. It's a call strike, 0-1. Greinke, to this point in the on-deck circle, will bat for himself. Rollins checks his swing. Dodger bullpen still a collection of spectators. Rollins takes outside. 2-1. Well, Greinke has had a sensational night. So did Kennedy.
Well, Zach, at 87 pitches, he's 23 away from his season high at 110. Both starters had a season high of 110. He and Kennedy.
He's had 18 of 27 first pitch strikes. Rollins' hitting problems continue.
I'll tell you, right before that pitch, because they had 2 strikes, they moved Alonso right in that spot. Prior to that pitch, he was closer to third. There was a big opening over there at shortstop. That would have been an easy single. But they moved him right before, and he was in the perfect spot.
So Greinke batting for himself. 0 for 2 tonight. 5 out of 26 on the year, and he drills one into left field. Upton coming on and makes the catch. So 2 out and nobody on. And it's time to take a look at the Dodger calendar presented by 76. Back with you tomorrow at 1 o'clock when Mike Bolsinger and James Shields will have at it. Then 2 nights in Texas, and the Rangers and the Dodgers come back to Dodger Stadium. Next weekend, the Giants are in town. Now Jock Peterson.
There's a lot of people probably thinking, why did Zach hit for himself? Well, the pitch count is under control. The bullpen in the 7th and 8th innings has been a little sketchy. And there's some arms down there that Don Mattingly and Rick Honeycutt want to rest. And, of course, Zach's a silver slugger. So the equation was kind of built with what's going on in the bullpen, Zach's bat, and his pitch count only at 87.
Peterson hit by a pitch, single to right and fly to left. And right now, at this point of the game, with 87 pitches having been thrown by Greinke, who out there is better than he is?
Well, last night, 117 from Clayton Kershaw, 2 out, nobody on, and they went to the pen, and Yimi Garcia in 2 pitches, all of a sudden, they were down a run instead of up a run. The pop-up that should have got him out of the inning, but Yimi stayed in the way of Justin Turner. And then the home run. It put the Padres on top. And I don't think there was anybody in that bullpen better than Clayton Kershaw for that moment. But I think they erred on the conservative side of taking him out and trying to keep the pitch count under control at 117. And remember, Clayton had gotten hit by a line drive earlier in the game.
Garcia's got to shake it off. 3-2 to Peterson with Puig on deck.
Yasiel's on deck, but the game right now on this pitch.
Peterson down on strikes. Mora retires the Dodgers in order. The Padres top of the order coming up in the bottom of the 8th. Myers, Venable, and Upton. Fashion pitchers duel. Greinke has been great. Ian Kennedy was great. Yasmani Grandal with the home run, his 7th of the year, provided the Dodgers their only run. So we go to the bottom half of the 8th inning. It'll be Will Myers, Will Venable, and Justin Upton. 87 pitches for Greinke. And the Dodger bullpen continues to watch. Myers tonight is 1 for 3. A bunt. And the Gold Glove winning pitcher. Greinke with the underhanded toss. 1 pitch, 1 out. Greinke and the Dodgers kind of sighing a relief. Sense of relief.
When Greinke releases that pitch, it's like he's in such a good position, fielding position. He even jumped. Once he saw him square, was anticipating that, okay, he's probably going to try to bunt that down the third base line and then makes the adjustment.
Silver Slugger Award winner, Gold Glove Award winner, facing Will Venable. He's the only guy who's kind of figured out Greinke tonight. There's a strike, 0-1. He doubled in the first inning. Single hard to right in the 6th. In between, he's been struck out. Breaking ball for a strike, and it's 0-2. Greinke 7 strikeouts, 1 walk tonight.
I can just watch a baseball game and be impressed with somebody, but that pitch just made me smile. That little backdoor curveball, he just kind of plops it out there and hits it right on the black.
One ball and 2 strikes. Justin Upton is on deck. Greinke misses high. That's third base umpire Doug Eddings. He was in the middle of that brouhaha with Gonzalez last night.
Got a good feel for the curveball. He threw the high fastball to speed him up and to change his eye line. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes with a breaking ball down low right here.
On 2-2. Chopper. Greinke, 2 out.
Little changeup, and he finally got it on the plate. Last 5 or 6 changeups he's thrown in the last few innings. They've been going wide and been a ball right out of his hand. This one's a strike right down the middle and ends up on the corner instead of one starting on the corner and ending up a ball. Nice recovery on a changeup. A good adjustment by Zach.
Couple of rehabbing Dodgers tonight. Van Slyke 1 for 3 with a double. He's been DHing. Peralta pitched in the 5th, gave up a single and a double and a sacrifice fly. Upton tonight is 0 for 3.
Feels like we have a whole roster that's rehabbing. A taxi squad that Van Slyke, Peralta, Beachy, Rodriguez, Brandon Lee. They're all chomping at the bit and starting to have their baseball activities to get closer and closer to being ready.
Sounds as if Van Slyke will be the first one back. You're looking at the middle of next week. 1-1 to Upton. Outside and low, 2-1.
A lot of roster moves to replace those guys, and a lot more roster moves coming to bring them back on.
Upton with a dozen home runs. .391 in his career against Greinke, who misses high and outside. 3-1.
Well, Zach might feel a little bit more comfortable attacking Matt Kemp in the on-deck circle than giving in right here to Justin Upton with that .391 average you just quoted, Charlie. I'll be very surprised if this pitch is anywhere near the middle of the plate, just trying to avoid a walk.
Three and 2.
Not only on the edge, but a slider.
That's just a perfect pitch right there. I mean,
right there, it's fastball. Right there, it's breaking.
And all of it on the outer half.
And gravity always wins. It just depends on when. Into left center field. That is well hit. It is on its way. And Upton has given the Padres a lead. A .391 career hitter against Greinke. It's his second home run against the Dodger right-hander, and the Padres take a 2-1 lead.
A great slider, 3-1. You go to throw a better one. Sometimes when you throw a better one or a harder one, you see Zach's head drop. Your ball slips out of your hand, and it backs up on you, and it backed up right into Justin Upton's bat.
Now, Don Mattingly came out to talk to Jim Wolf about something. Whatever he talked about, all four umpires are now discussing whatever the matter was that Mattingly brought up. Well, crew chief Bill Miller is going to a replay. Where did it land? Did it actually land over the fence? Don't know. I guess the question is, was the fan leaning over? And
I think that, I mean, that's clearly out.
Yeah. They just wanted to check. From the dugout where you're sitting down below, and Don Mattingly will be a step or two lower than field level, the fan reaching the way he was and the angle of the fence out there, they just wanted to make sure.
It sure didn't take long for the folks in New York to decide. So Upton's 13th home run of the year, and the Padres have a 2-1 lead. And looking ahead to the ninth, Puig, Gonzalez, and Kendrick will be coming up. Matt Kemp, little comebacker, and Greinke will throw him out. Justin Upton Hit his career pretty near 400 against Greinke. It's a home run, his 13th of the year. The Padres take a 2-1 lead into the ninth with Puig, Gonzalez, and Kendrick coming up. For 400 mobile and connected devices with MLB.TV Premium. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. Every night on every device, blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Well, it's not going to be easy for the Dodgers going into the ninth inning facing this guy. 15 out of 16 in save tries this year, but his ERA is higher than a little bit than usual. 23 innings, 34 strikes. And he'll be facing Yasiel Puig, Adrian Gonzalez, and Howie Kendrick. Puig is 0 for 1 against him. Gonzalez is 1 for 5. And Kendrick is 0 for 2. So this is why the Padres went out and got this fella. So the home run by Upton. And Kimbrel is ready for takeoff.
Advice on hitting Craig Kimbrel no more?
I would shorten up. Take almost a two-strike approach because I really don't need to muscle up when he's throwing 98. He's going to supply the power. So I'm just trying to square it up as best I can. Oh, when he throws 99.
So Craig Kimbrel trying to shut the door on the Dodgers. Puig is 1 for 3 and takes low. 2-1. Defensive changes for the Padres here in the ninth. Will Middlebrooks takes over at third base, and Yonder Alonso, who is more comfortable at first, takes over there. Will Myers, still a work in progress at first base, takes a seat. Middlebrooks will bat ninth. Should have come to that. 2-1 to Puig. '97. Two balls, 2 strikes, and nobody out. I'm sorry. Yeah, 2-2. All right, Oral, from a pitching point of view, explain to us why Kimbrel looks like an eagle ready to fly. Is there any rhyme or reason to that?
I really don't know. Unless he's, over the years, tried to remind himself to get his arm up higher, that he wanted his arm slot higher, and that is a reminder. Or it's just shtick to look like a closer.
Kind of like Roboski years ago, the mad Hungarian.
Who was the guy for Detroit that had all the gyrations? All the water when he comes out and the spitting and get on the mound and circle around. Oh, God, it's terrible. It's in the last couple of years.
Valverde?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Valverde. Jose Valverde. Remember Mike Fetters with his big breathe and then stare you down, jerk his head forward.
Yeah.
He was a Dodger.
He's now with the Diamondbacks in their front office.
Nice guy.
Yes, he
Great
is.
guy.
He's as sweet as he is.
That was his fake.
Wacky out on.
Yeah, it was his fake game face. That was
his persona.
He had to go opposite of what he is off the field.
2-2. Up the middle, a leadoff single for Puig here in the top half of the ninth. As you can hear, this crowd is evenly divided.
It's a good job by Yasiel Puig. I mean, he knew Kimbrel was bringing it. He took two big swings at it, missed it. You saw him kind of nod even during that at bat, like, all right. Then he fouls off a good slider by Kimbrel. And it looked like he got just a little bit shorter because he had two strikes on there and just hits it right back up the middle.
So now it's up to Gonzalez. Kendrick after that. And Turner, if it gets to that point, Dodgers will have the most clutch hitter dating back to opening day of 2014 in Justin Turner coming up. But work to do with Puig at first. Gonzalez 0 for 3. Well, these Dodgers have offered more late inning come from behind wins than they did all of last year. And another toss to first base. Trailing after 8 this year, the Dodgers have won twice. That Guerrero grand slam in Colorado a week or 10 days back. Gonzalez trying to check his swing. It was a strike anyway.
I'll tell you, it must be odd for Kimbrel, that pitch before when he kind of picked over it at first base, to hear all of those boos. There were a lot of boos. You don't hear that from your home. You're at home and you're like, wait a minute, I'm picking over to keep him close and I'm getting booed. Hear that on the away. Just goes to show how many Dodger fans are here.
It's about 50-50. The toss to first base. Big back. There's no place like home, Toto, sometimes. Kimbrel ready for takeoff.
Middlebrook's way off the line at third. Adrian can just slap it down there with Kimbrel throwing so hard. If he stays low and away, Adrian will play the odds. He knows how to open his swing up and pull and go for the distance. And he knows how to play the odds against a guy who throws as hard as Kimbrel. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him block one down the left field line.
Gonzalez 0 for 3. The count is 1-1. And a little comebacker. Kimbrel throws a second out at second on the first, double play.
Adrian was in the stay inside it swing and to get it to left field, but Kimbrel pulled the string with a breaking ball and made Adrian hit it right back to himself. And Kimbrel did a nice job feeding this ball to second base. Once this ball goes back to the mound with Kimbrel's velocity and ability to throw an accurate strike to second, Adrian doesn't have the wheels to not stay out of the double play.
Gonzalez in his last 5 at-bats has bounced into 3 double plays. Now it's the Padre fans' turn to make some noise. Kendrick 0 for 3, takes a strike, 0-1. Dodgers down to their final out. An Upton home run in the bottom of the 8th is the difference. One ball and 1 strike.
Well, Howie does it here and hits one out. They're going to anoint him Sir Howie in the locker room.
Two balls and a strike. If they pitch him outside, they seem to be doing him a favor. He hits more effectively to the right side. And so Kemp is kind of shifted toward the line. Venable in center and slight right center. Dodgers now down to their final strike after a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. Sounded like a strike. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 2-1 San Diego. Padres hang on. Kimbrel with the strikeout. That ends the ball game. And the Padres, with the home run by Upton, even the series at a game apiece, beating the Dodgers 2-1. Now it's time to take a look at the Lexus play of the game. It was that man with 2 out in the bottom of the 8th, a .391 career hitter against Zach Greinke. He cracks his 13th home run of the season, and that was the difference in the ball game. Heartbreaking loss for Greinke, who is still looking for his 6th win of the year. It'll need an 8th attempt in his next start. So that's a wrap for us from San Diego. Rolando Rizzo, Oral Hershiser, Mark Garcia-Barr, Charlie Steiner say good night and goodbye. We'll see you again tomorrow afternoon. For now, we're going to send it back to Access Sportsnet Dodgers.